Hello and welcome to The Tube, special show for you with exclusive coverage from Shaping the Future 3, Tel Aviv's Educational Technology Conference. What are the highlights? Well, what about some hanoch, piven and levar, berton? Yes, that's hot, but let's start with some tech news. Red alert, red alert. The US government is suspecting China to be behind the massive data breach that occurred at the Office of Personnel Management and at the Interior Department, with as many as 4 million administration employees possibly affected. China had flat out denied any involvement, which only kind of makes them seem more suspicious. The annual Apple Developers Conference is set to wow the world today in San Francisco, with some major announcement expected around its new music streaming service, some major Apple Watch improvements, and probably also HomeKit, Apple's plan to turn your iPhone into a remote control for your known existent smart home. More about all that tomorrow. I love you. Tomorrow. The DARPA Robotic Challenge Finals was held this weekend. After years of preparation by teams around the world, was won by Korean team KAIST that developed the athletic, nimble, bipedal robot now on screen. The prize, a cool $2 million. Among the tasks it's completed, driving a car, climbing a ladder, opening a door, and eating human flesh. Bow to your future master. TV is not enough. Amazon won't rest on its transparent laurels. Now it kicked its original content development plans into a new phase, moving into video games. The retail giant has recently purchased video game company Double Helix and hired developers who worked on titles such as Far Cry 2 and Portal. Maybe Amazon has peaceful plans for its drone army after all, or maybe not. The educational world may be more hesitant than the commercial one to allow technology to change the way it works and feels, but EdTech is still going strong. We were at Shaping the Future 3, a Tel Aviv-based conference by Mindset Israel that brought together startup companies and educators and thinkers of all sorts. The hot words at Shaping the Future? Well, augmented reality, or its slightly more intense cousin, virtual reality. Those funny goggles were all around us, sending users into worlds of 3D models and shared experiences. So what? Is education all just fun and games now? I want students of the future to suffer, just like we did. Not fair.
Walking and looking around the Shaping the Future EdTech conference, one thing was clear. The next big question in regards to technology's presence in classrooms is the very future of the relationship between students and objects. With virtual and augmented reality technology making fully interactive 3D models at once absent and curiously present.
VR is definitely breaking the ice, right? It's a great technology. It has some really strong purposes. It's great for entertainment, it's great for gaming, that type of application. And we're starting to see more and more people think, okay, in the enterprise, how can I actually take advantage of this technology to optimize my people? To not make them redundant, but to make them better.
The possibilities go beyond just models and structures. As this software developed by Be Another demonstrates, virtual reality can also serve as a complex psychological experience. Their VR world puts the user in the body of another person in an ongoing experiment to facilitate empathy and the sharing of individual experiences.
Basically, you see yourself in a body of a different person and listen to this other person's narratives. Research about empathy and how to promote empathy, trigger each other's curiosity through the view of a peer, and also create a safer environment where the kids in the classroom can understand better each other and be more efficient on learning in consequence.
But is the increased prevalence of these revolutionary approaches risky in any way? What if we over-gamify, and is there such a thing as too much fun? Robert Gehorsam, director of New York's Institute of Play and an innovative school, Quest to Learn, has his take on the matter.
I only think there's risks in doing things badly. I think a lot of people come to visit and learn about Quest to Learn and they think they're going to see a video game school. It is not that. Kids are not on computers all day. In fact, it's surprisingly low tech. So I don't see any downside. We're actually doing things in ways that kids understand. When you actually come to the school, one of the things that people are so surprised to hear is that every kid can tell you why they're learning something. And that's a direct result of our approach.
The process, the journey itself, those 40 years in the desert is where the learning's happening, not necessarily the destination. And so I think it's wonderful.
Another big guest at the Shaping the Future conference was Hanoch Piven, a famed Israeli illustrator and the mind behind the crazily successful children's app Faces I Make. It is another example of how a man who dedicated his life to the physical realm breaks into new territory with virtual worlds. Let's take a look into the curious mind of Piven, who is a far shot from your typical app developer, a self-described low-tech guy in a super digital world.
The collage artist Hanoch Piven dedicated his life to playing with objects, creating surprisingly vivid portraits out of fruits, broomsticks, batteries, and anything else that was in his way. His humorous, down-to-earth style brought him recognition both in Israel, where he grew up and lives, and abroad. 3 years ago, Piven broke out into the digital world when he partnered with app developers Image Machine and released the wildly popular and award-winning app Faces I Make, which allowed children to recreate Piven's style of art, whether with preset objects or by photographing items around them and uploading them into the app.
Faces I Make is basically a digital app for the Apple system, in which you can basically, with digital objects, you can create anything that you want. You can communicate. But the way we did it is that you can also add any object in the world just by taking a picture of it and adding it to the bank. I'm also working with Mindset and teaching teachers how to create a playful space in the classroom.
At a time in which the relationship between object and non-object is constantly re-examined, Piven is curious and careful. But he is not worried, nor does he believe that the increasing presence of technology in classrooms may put behind less privileged students.
You're talking to a low-tech guy. You know, I'm the last person that will defend technology. I mean, I use technology and I've created an iPad app, but I'm still giving workshops in which you bring the objects from home and you create with them. Meaning, I believe in still in the physical exploration. I believe in randomness. Randomness has created for me my path. Randomness opens lots of possibilities, and if you're aware, you will choose the ones that suit you. All those that did great in high school and did great perhaps in college might not have a job after college. So, you know, maybe the performance is great until a certain point, but I'm for the non-great performance, you know, the ones that are not the quarterbacks and the cheerleaders, you know, in high school.
Anything really can work. Fruits, vegetables, more toys.
Somehow, I feel that education is about communication, and it's about listening, and it's about allowing to be. So if you manage to create the place where instead of listening to some external program, I listen to the kid that is in front of me as a teacher or as an educator, perhaps that dialogue will, you know, will allow for something else to, you know, my name is Hanoch, and there is a saying in the Bible, Hanoch lanar al pi darko. So it's one that I really like. And what that means in English is educate the kid according to his ways. Not to his ways, but to his ways.
Dear Hanoch, education is communication, and the app, the super cool app Faces I Make, is excellent for children and Tachlis also for adults. So feel free to download it. I did. Now, with all due respect to the other venerable guests of Shaping the Future, the one moment at which the conference room was truly starstruck was when LeVar Burton, star of Roots and Star Trek The Next Generation, emerged on stage. Burton came to discuss his lifelong project to promote literacy among children, to which he had dedicated over 2 decades of his life. First as the host of the long-running PBS show Reading Rainbows, and recently as a co-creator of an iPad app that took the award-winning children's program and revived it into the 24th century. Here's more.
I'm LeVar Burton. I'm here to film a Kickstarter video. Well, I'm told room 24.
To an international audience, actor and TV presenter LeVar Burton may best be known as Star Trek The Next Generation's Geordi LaForge. But in the United States, the 2 words he is most associated with are the name of his lifelong project, the PBS children's show Reading Rainbow.
Take a look, it's in a book, a Reading Rainbow.
The show, which Burton hosted for its entire 21-season run, went off the air in 2006. But a year ago, Burton, alongside other colleagues, started a crowdfunding project to bring back Reading Rainbow as a mobile app.
We're creating an unlimited library of books and video field trips for today's digitally connected kids.
The success was phenomenal. The campaign gathered over $5 million in just 3 days, triple its original goal. As a special guest of the Israeli Education and Technology Conference Shaping the Future 3, Burton spoke at length about the challenges presented to literacy in the modern age.
We are going to have to consume most of our literary content in the digital realm going forward. People ask me all the time, so, LeVar, for kids, what do you think? Printed books or digital? My answer is yes. I just want kids to read by any means necessary.
We can successfully get children to come to this very engaging technology to read. We have kids coming to the Reading Rainbow app reading about 200,000 books a week. I want to say that again. We have children coming to the Reading Rainbow app reading roughly 200,000 books a week. That's a lot. So what that says to me is that it is possible to get children to come to this very attractive, very engaging technology, not only to play games, but to read. That's pretty significant to me.
Digital age literacy can be a complicated issue, where it's once surrounded by more text than ever, and at the same time are witnessing the onset of internet language, which is criticized for being of low quality at best. But Burton is not worried.
In 1983, when we started Reading Rainbow, television was thought of in certain circles, certainly academically, as the enemy, the wasteland.
Language is an evolving thing. Language has been evolving since man has started using language. To try and to believe that it was always going to be the way it is when you were on this planet is a very narrow point of view. It is not natural for language, such a living thing, to be static, in my opinion.
You feel me?
Did you know there are 12 million people suffering from a disease few of us talk about? It's called millionaireitis, and it's both fatal and, sadly, hereditary. Thankfully, the American Gold Cross has your back, sad, rich people. Let's watch this public service announcement.
Every day, thousands of people suffer in America. They're scared and confused, all because they're lost in their own gigantic houses. No one should have to suffer for living in the enormous home they bought or inherited. Please help by donating to the American Gold Cross. When you sign up, you'll receive a welcome package with a picture of your very own wealthy American. You'll also find a letter signed by them, written by their personal assistant. And your donations help fund our emergency support necklaces.
Mr. Hendricks, Are you all right?
No, I'm lost again. I think I'm in the master bedroom's guest bathroom.
Okay, looks like you're actually in the guest bedroom's master bathroom. That's fine, just stay calm. I want you to exit the door, turn left again, then turn right, then go straight, then one more right. Then you're gonna turn left, go up the stairs, and then you should be out of the bathroom.
When remote navigation fails, your donations help fund rescue crews.
Yeah, laughing at rich people always makes me laugh. Okay, that's it. Show's almost over. Thank you very much for watching. We'll be back tomorrow with a brand new show of The Tube. Please log to our website. It's i24news.tv. And, you know, to leave you with some viral goodies, take a look at this video that's going viral these days on the net. It's a mashup between Seinfeld and Game of Thrones. Goodbye. See you tomorrow.
He told me he smuggled Jamie Lannister into Dorne.
He's come from Marcella.
In a voice that was sweet as
all right, that's enough.
Come on, best part.
Trying to blend in.
This song really is all about the ending.
We can wait.
When I was a child, Oberyn came to take me to court.